Hey guys, MerullaArt here. In past few weeks I have been working on new story, Rise of the Atlanteans, for my art book, Unknown World of Ida. In today's world building episode we will take a closer look on the civilizations, warriors and lore that I designed for this story. Enjoy!
The first story of Rise of the Atlanteans serves as a prologue in Unknown World of Ida. It describes Atlantean Island, its nature and how the local people got to the top of the technological expansion. The island, rich in everything that humans could wish for, could have been a paradise on Earth. However, this was not enough for these people. They did not value what they had and traded peace and prosperity for violence. Since people are the most cruel animal, they began to hunt on land and sea, not out of necessity, but for pleasure. They tamed local wild horses, reforged agricultural tools into weapons, built war ships, and sailed to the central continent of Ida. And so they spread their tentacles around the unknown world under their cephalopod sign to suffocate and subjugate all living. However, there were others who dared to resist. And such is the violent nature of people. Nothing is enough for them, they want more, and if they can, they will take it by force. After all, aren't we all just primitives in modern clothing, using other people's technology, slaving under the rule of self-proclaimed kings, living in the illusion of free will? I mentioned how the Atlanteans rose to power and invaded an unknown world of Ida. From the beginning, their campaign of conquest met no resistance and they dominated a large part of the world. Against their advancing armies, an alliance of barbarian nations eventually formed, uniting to stop the Atlanteans and push them back into the sea. The alliance consisted of the three most powerful tribes. There were Vtrans, Tharkans, and the most warlike of them were Alarians. The Alarians were divided into three clans. The original and largest of them were the Alarians inhabiting the central forests, followed by the eastern Reans and the western Silurians. The common feature of these people was courage and recklessness. Often blinded by their own anger, the alliance had a hard time correcting their rash attacks. The Alarians were skilled craftsmen, but fell short of the artistic abilities of the other nations. Their tools and weapons were more functional. Their weapons of choice were throwing spears and axes as it suited their ambush fighting techniques. They also used short swords and shields of various shapes. The Alarians were a tall figure with long knotted hair and mustaches. They found a hobby mainly in duels, and often, driven by ego and personal honor, they fought each other under meaningless excuses. However, when a foreign enemy appeared in their territory, they were able to unite and fight as one. As for their religion, they worshipped above all the sun, which they lacked in their dark and vast forests. Then spirits of trees and goddesses of rivers. Sometimes they put their best weapons in the rivers in their sacrificial rituals. Their spirit animal was the wild boar, as it represented their strong, courageous and territorial nature. The Alarians sometimes decorated their helmets with boar tusks. Another of the barbarian peoples who opposed the Atlantean invasion were the Vtrans. Vtra was a city-state. These people were more of a business nature, opportunists. Politics and the world interested them until they could benefit from it. They found many precious metals in the surrounding mountains, from which they made beautiful jewelry, art objects, and fine armor, even though they were not essentially a warrior nation. The Vtrans hesitated for a long time before joining the alliance, and at one time it looked like they would join the Atlanteans, as they were of a similar arrogant nature and obviously did not want to risk losing their freedom and, what's more, their wealth in a fight with such a great superpower. There then arose great hatred between the Alarians and the Vtrans. The two nations hated each other because they were the exact opposite. The Alarians blamed the Vtrans for their cowardly nature and greed and inclination towards the enemy, while the Vtrans considered the other nations to be true barbarians who had mud instead of brains. The third nation that rose up against the Atlanteans were the Tharkans. They were actually the first to form an alliance of nations because they were the first to strike against the advancing Atlanteans from the south. While the mountains were protected by the Vtrans and the forests by the Alarians, the Tharkans lived on the fertile plains and were open for any attacks. When the Tharkans discovered that they could not match the Atlanteans in terms of manpower and weapons, they called the Alarians for help. And the Alarians, with a vision of great battles, gladly accepted the challenge. This created a strong friendship and alliance that lasted until the time of the semi-legendary king Thark Aquila and his campaign against Vtran. The story of Aquila Conquest tells about this, but that is a story from another time. The Tharkan trait was, adapt or die, and so they were the first to adapt to a new style of warfare after losing battles and copied many Atlantean technologies. From then on, the Tharkans used bronze fish-scale armor and incorporated horses into their army. The invasion of these sea people inadvertently aided the enormous development of the barbarian peoples, who have since created their own civilizations with advanced technologies they acquired from the Atlanteans. After a series of defeats and many years of fierce fighting, the Alliance finally managed to defeat the Atlanteans in a monumental battle of nations. The Atlanteans suffered a huge setback and gathered strength for the next centuries. The Atlanteans were then content only with coastal raids and only really returned to the unknown world in the story of Bellovesus, where they were defeated once and for all in the Battle of Argos.
Thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed new lore and illustrations for the story Rise of the Atlanteans. Don't forget to press thumbs up and subscribe for more. If you are interested in more world building episode, there is a link in description and you can see more exclusive content from Unknown World on my Patreon. Thank you to my current Patreons, Gerard and Simon. With that being said, I love you all and see you next time.